important to understand about Workspaces with AlgoBox and NinjaTrader. So right here, we are going to direct ourselves to the NinjaTrader Control Center here, and right here at Workspaces. We've talked about connections and some of these other items before, so make sure you go through those other videos. Let's understand what Workspaces are. So right now I have no Workspaces open, but I want to switch over to the AlgoBox standard. Now, when you install AlgoBox out of the box, this is already going to be pre-configured for you, and you are going to launch out open into the AlgoBox standard workspace. It's important to understand what that is. Now, you'll notice these two little boxes over here on the left. This means that these workspaces are actually currently open, but because they are grayed out right now, they are not active. So I'm going to set one of these to be active right now by selecting Workspaces, and I'm going to switch to standard. Now, this is going to be the standard layout that you guys are used to seeing on a regular basis. Remember, in our layout, when you install, you're going to have our 5 charts with the 3 main time periods that we talk about here. We've got our super high time frame, that's going to be our tide. Then we've got our mid, our wave. We've got the MACV, and of course we have our 2 ripple charts for those entries over there, and we talk about that in our training videos. But let's talk about the workspaces here today. So this is a workspace. So individual charts are going to, multiple charts in a section are going to make up a workspace. So one chart is just a chart, the whole thing is called the workspace. So if I wanted to make a change to this workspace, I would want to save that entire workspace so that I can come back to that workspace. Now, speaking of saving workspaces, it is important that you don't just overwrite the current one here, the standard workspace, that's the 1080p. You don't want to overwrite this one, because in future releases of AlgoBox, we are going to overwrite that workspace for you. So you want to make any changes and then save them under your own name. Again, you'll see I've got quite a few in my workspace. It doesn't really matter what you are naming your workspace as long as it is not the AlgoBox standard. Again, the ones with the underscore in front are typically ones that are going to be coming from us, unless you have named your own with those. This just puts it up at the top of the list because there's an alphabetical order in the list, so we want to put AlgoBox there up at the top so they're easy for you to find. Okay, so let's say that I switch over to my LunchBot workspace. So I'm going to go Workspaces, and because I already have this open, should be launching very quickly. You notice there was no load time whatsoever on those. And it's important to note how many of your workspaces are open. In general, I also want to tell you, very important to understand something. Do not have multiple workspaces open at the same time. Now you might be saying, well, hold on, Vinny, why do you have 2 workspaces open? This is for demonstration purposes only right now. In general rule of thumb, you do not want to have this. You do not want to see 2 of these boxes, or 3 or 4 by any means. You really just want one of these workspaces open at a time, because they are going to be eating up performance on your machine, because they are still processing everything on all the charts. All the algorithms are all still running across multiple charts. Now, this is more important when you are getting to like 20 chart layouts. You've got everything all nicely laid out for yourself across your multi-monitor screen setup. And then if you've got 2 of those open, it will really degrade the performance of your machine. So I want to make that note here while we're dealing with the workspaces. Do not have multiple workspaces open. Have I driven that home? All right, don't do it. Now, with those exceptions, you may know when you need to do that. For instance, like this scenario here with LunchBot. LunchBot is a lightweight workspace. There's only a few charts on it. I've got only 4 charts across these instruments, and it's one single set, and it's only really executing during the lunch hour. So there might be exceptions to that, but in general, hopefully I've driven that point home. So now let's say I want to close out my LunchBot here. So when I highlight in the menu the name of the workspace, then I'm going to come over here, and I've met with these 4 dialogues right here. I want to click on the close, obviously. So I'm going to go ahead and Workspaces, LunchBot, and I'm going to close that workspace. It's going to ask me if I want to save. In this case, I'm going to say yes, and it opens up. You'll notice my other workspace is still open, so it pops me over to the next available workspace. Now, I've already told you that I want you to make changes and then save them as a different workspace, right? So that's important. So I'm going to go ahead and make a quick change here. So I'm going to add a new chart, and there's lots of ways to do this. We'll talk about this in other videos, but real quick, I'm just going to right click, duplicate this chart. I'm going to unlink it from the purple. So we'll talk about color linking, but may as well hit it real quick while we're here. The color linking over there, you'll notice, has a purple box. Each one of these charts on my current workspace has a purple section, which means if I change any one of these charts, if it's linked to purple, then all of the purple charts will change to that instrument. We'll do a demonstration of that here in just a moment, but right now I'm going to change this one over to the ES. So I'm going to go to the ES 06 contract on this chart. Okay, So now I've loaded this one up. I'm gonna put this off here, so on another screen, boom. But now I wanna save that change. So I'm gonna go to my workspace, and now I wanna save this as a different name. I'm gonna save this one this time, and I'm gonna do this as, we'll do a test 02. All right, so now my workspace, there we go. That is, you notice that the other one is not still open, so it does not duplicate the workspace and create another one. I've just renamed the current one that was open to ATest02. So now this whole workspace is saved there. Now I want to talk about the, well, let's change this real quick. So I told you a minute ago that we could change all of these. So I'm going to right click now, and I'm going to change this instrument to, let's do the YM. So on the dowel, I just changed this one chart. However, everything that is color linked to that same chart is going to change, and that's going to change it on the entire workspace for anything that is color linked on purple. Okay, so it's important to know those things, and I talk about that in another video on how to lay out different color linkings for NASDAQ, the Dow, the Russell, each instrument type. That way you're only having to change it one time and it changes for all. These are very helpful when you're doing contract rollover. If you're needing to change to a new contract month, you change it once and then you save the whole workspace, which let's go ahead and do that. So I made that change, right? So I want to save that change. Just click save, right? And remember, if I want to save it as a new name, I'm going to use the save as. So that's the time when you want to change that. If I wanted to change the name of this workspace to another one, I would do save as. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. So I'm going to save as, and this time I'm going to do a test 03. Easy peasy, right? Now, if I click on 02, this is not going to switch workspace. This is actually going to open up two workspaces, so that is important to note. And again, what's our rule of thumb? Don't do what I just did here. Don't have two of these open at the same time, because now each one of these has 5 charts plus my ES, so I guess it'd be 6. So I've got 6 charts now times 2. So now my machine is now having to deal with 12 charts. So make sure, again, this is one of those little sleepers that some of our technical support will attest to the fact that this is, solved a lot of people's problems when they don't even know that they had another workspace open, but it's sitting there behind the scenes, constantly eating up your processing power. Okay, so let's go ahead and close out number 02 real quick, and then let's talk about how to share workspaces. So if you've done a whole lot of changes to your workspace, you've changed some audio settings and got it just the way that you want it, just perfectly, every little edge is lined up for you. Now you want to share that. It's great if you guys can share those out with our crew. So there is a section in our Discord channel chat that you can share those with others, or also receive them if there are major changes or there's a new release that comes out. You might want to go and get a new workspace. So this is a great place to do that. Under community workspace templates, you can come in here and get various layouts. So let's say that yours matches up with, so KevBot here. So he's got this very nice layout here for all of his charts laid out on a 4K monitor. It doesn't even fit on mine here because this is a 1080p screen that I'm showing you guys for demonstration purposes here today. So his whole layout with, you've got YM down at the bottom, ES at the top right. He's got NQ at the top left and RTY at the bottom left. Now again, for me, I tend to tell people to have NQ down below and RTY at the top, but it just depends on if you are a major RTY player, then you would want this a little bit closer to you down at the bottom left and put this panel in the middle of your screen. So if you wanted Kevin's layout instead of Vinny's layout, for instance, it's nice that Kevin has gone ahead and shared out his file. So let me show you how you could get his without having to make all those configuration changes, as long as he's got his up to date with the latest version. So right here, there is this deal here that looks like a bunch of code. This is an XML file. The name of it right here is standard 4K 2.0.xml. So the type of file that the workspaces are under is the XML language style file. Okay, so .xml, that is what you're going to be looking for. Now, XML is used in other things in NinjaTrader, so don't just think that, oh, they're always workspaces. XML can be used for many things. It's just a markup language, but you are going to be looking for this. So if I want to download this, I can click on download, and then I want to save it into my Workspaces folder. So let's talk about how to get to your Workspaces folder on your PC. Where are these stored? Okay, so on your machine, you are going to go to your documents and folder, documents folder, and then you'll go to NinjaTrader 8. And the folder is called Workspaces. Pretty straightforward, pretty easy, right? Now you can see some of my files that I've already got down here. There's a test 2, there's a test 3, And the ones that I just created right now should be up here at the top. Yeah, there it is. There they are. So there's my A-test 02 and 03. So very simple. If I wanted to share this with our crew, I could just copy this. I can drag it into Discord and hit send, and it will save it in there. Now, if you guys are sharing your workspace, please take a big screenshot or a picture of your whole desk layout. I think some people are forgetting to do that because just because he's showing one screen here, well, he might have another screen over here on the right and one over here on the left, and you go to download it and all of a sudden you've got charts all over the place. Make sure, here's a special note, make sure that the person that you are copying from has hardware identical to yours, okay? This 4K workspace for me is not going to work because in my configuration, I have this, 6-panel setup, and it's just, it's not going to fit right now. Again, you can force it to work, you can move things around, and this 4K would actually spread out across probably all of my screens over here on the right, but it just becomes a little bit messy. Make sure you match up your hardware with the person that you are maybe borrowing from. Again, I do encourage you guys, do your own work. Make sure that you've done this at least once. Don't be completely lazy, but once you've done it a few times and you're comfortable with it, there's not a problem with sharing those workspaces because there is quite a lot of effort into making sure that all of your audio files are the way that you want them, etc. Okay, so that's how you share files. That's how you can put them into your workspace and folders. So once someone has shared a file with you, you may need to restart NinjaTrader first. Once you drop that file here, so I would save it, I would put it into this location. So let's say I want to get Kevin's file, I would put it right in here, and then when I restart NinjaTrader, I can now see, Kevin's workspace or Eric's or whoever. I can click on that, launch it up, and your space will be looking just like theirs, just as easy as that. Okay. There's also inside that same folder, there is a backups folder right here called recovery. Okay, so if your screen ever gets really jacked up here, you can go into the recovery folder, and there will be multiple versions of this by default out of the box. You've got quite a few that you can go back to, and they save those changes along the way for you. Although again, best practices, please always make sure that you are saving your workspace and save often anytime you're making changes, because your machine can lock up on occasions, and that would be, well, it's sad when you make a whole bunch of changes and then you lose it. Another little tip, if you are changing your workspaces around, check the bottom left-hand corner to see if you are connected. Generally speaking, you want to be disconnected when you are making changes to your workspace. If you are trying to still get real-time data while stuff is coming in, that can tend to be a mess, all right? So I may want to go into my connections here, and I may want to disconnect so that I can not have that problem, right? And I think that covers it for our workspaces. Hopefully that was helpful to you, and I will catch you guys on the next one.